Welcome back to Central Valley Talk, where we celebrate what's good about our valley, the state. Actually, we're more international now. We do authors interviews every day with authors from all over the world and different business coaches and people from around the nation. And today we have a business coach, I guess we'll call him. And welcome, Eric Merz, business coach. That's enough, right?
Good morning. Good afternoon.
And tell us,
Hi.
Eric, I was just saying as we're coming on the air, everything's international now, or at least nationwide. There's no more local, not a lot of local stuff going on. Do you have clients all over the country or all over the state?
I have some scattered around the country. I don't have any out of the country right now,
Yeah,
but I do have colleagues that have coaching clients in other continents.
other continents, yeah. Now, give us a little idea of the scope of your business.
So mainly I work with entrepreneurs, small business people running their own business. Some maybe for a long time, and some maybe they haven't been in it too long.
Hmm.
And I just try to help them grow their business. Sometimes they're stuck in a spot because they were really good at what they did. They got it to a certain point. They hustled, but maybe there's some things they need to learn. Maybe there's some things they need to think about that just weren't really in their earlier career expertise tool bag, if you will.
Yeah. Is there one big impediment to growth?
Well, usually it's ourselves,
Hmm.
right? Getting out of the way of ourselves and realizing that we can't do everything ourselves, or
Yeah.
we don't know everything that we need to know. And so if we can put that aside for a moment, there's resources available. I mean, there are people like myself that can help, but then there are experts in different fields that can help business owners, whether it's a CPA firm that has tax, expertise, to banking, to marketing, advertising. You got to take advantage of all those things to have a successful business.
Yeah, I catch myself all the time saying stuff like, "Why am I building the website? I don't even know how to do websites." And there's people out there that really know how, and they do them quick and they do them cheap. So I find things like that, and I was doing all my own accounting, and there's things. You're right. I got to let go of stuff. People need to learn to let go of stuff, and so I'm the impediment. What about money? Is that always a big thing that has to be overcome?
Well, a lot of businesses are undercapitalized. They don't have enough funds to really grow and do the things they need to do to expand. But there are people that can loan money at a reasonable rate that, if it makes sense, if your business is profitable enough,
Yeah.
you got to know your profit margin. So before you go out there and get some money or put some money on a credit card
Hmm.
to grow your business, you need to make sure you understand what your profit margins are and whether or not
Yeah.
you can afford the cost of that money.
Right.
When you talk about funding, but then the other issue is, you know, how are you managing simple things like your cash flow?
Hmm.
Do you understand what your accounts receivable? What's the average amount of time it takes to collect your money? What's the average amount of time that you can not pay your bills and not have exorbitant fees? So all those games come into play when it comes to managing cash flow, which gives you the funding sometimes to do that
Yep.
little expansion here and there. Or if you're buying equipment, financing that equipment over a long term versus paying cash
Right.
might be a good option, and the cost of the money might be a lot less than waiting until you accumulate enough money to buy it. So you got to weigh those things,
Yeah.
and I do help clients kind of figure those things out. But a lot of times there's fear, fear of. I run into a lot of people, they don't want to go into debt.
Hmm.
There's good debt and bad debt. So there's a reason that there are businesses out there that provide funding, and we call it debt. And debt's a dirty word, right? Nobody wants debt. But, you know, it's if you really just look at it as if you are getting an asset so that you can produce more assets, as long as that return is higher than the cost of that debt,
Right.
and you can manage the cash flow, then you're all right. But you need to know your numbers to do that.
Yeah. Well, sometimes people don't know how to look at that. I guess that's why they would bring you in. I've seen many businesses, they've just grown and grown and grown organically, and they took it over from their parents, and they're just doing it the way it's always been done. And would you say some people, it wouldn't hurt to have somebody like you come in and just take a look at their business?
Yeah, and typically I go in and I do an assessment. I look at the profit and loss statements. I look at their credit card statements to see if there's some opportunities to reduce some costs that there's things they subscribed to years ago and they're still paying for it and they don't use it anymore, things like that. And then we go from there to building some fundamental strategies around growth and grow in a way that's profitable. So I mean, well, a lot of times we'll employ what we call the 80-20 rule. You've probably heard of it, the Pareto principle, which is, they're going to derive 80% of their profit from probably 20% of their clients or customers. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't mean that you're only going to do business with those 20%, but you're going to try to market to more people like those people, for one. And two, you're going to go back to them to get more business because they're the people that really value what you provide, your product or service. So we want to try to capitalize on those, minimize the ones that are probably 80% of our problems are coming from, and maybe eliminate some of those. So sometimes we're just looking at our customer base, trying to understand where do we really make our money? Because sometimes people make money over here, and over here they're losing money or resource of time for their people and themselves to manage that business, where they could be putting more effort and focus on these over here, this 20% that's getting 80% of the profit.
Yeah. What about finding new markets? Is that something you could help a business with?
Yeah, we can go into a discovery of what are the other things that we could add to what we're offering our existing customers that they're already going to be buying somewhere else, but it would be easy for us to add them. Sometimes it's products, sometimes it's service. As long as it's not going to take us out of our lane so much that we lose total focus. I've seen businesses do that too. If there's enough business, then you should start a whole new division that focuses on that. Mm-hmm. But if it's just an add-on product to what you're already doing that you could deliver easily, or you could just add an item on your shelf if you have a retail store, or in a restaurant, you could add an item to your menu. Now, there's pros and cons, right? You're confusing sometimes the customer. Who are you? What is it you do? So you want to make sure that it fits your brand and how people perceive you. Because I've walked into restaurants, but I thought they were just, serving Mexican food, right? And all of a sudden there's hamburgers and pizzas on the menu. I'm like, yeah, they're trying to appeal to everybody there, and maybe it's good for the kids because it'll be easier to sell them the pizza than it is a taco or a burrito. I don't know, but it's a little confusing. Like they start to be everything to everybody, and they become no one to no one, nothing to nobody, right? So that's something that I always kind of look at and make sure that they're consistent with their messaging, their marketing, and who they are, and if they wanted to have another business, that might be, they spin off into another total business that's branded that way.
Do you find instances where the business owner, all he has is a job?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of times, I mean, when you boil it down, if let's say you were going to sell your business, could you sell your business and the new owner could operate with what you think you want to get for it, or would you have to come with the business to keep the value there? And a lot of times small businesses, they'll sell with a consulting contract where they'll stay around for a certain amount of time to try to bridge the customers in and make sure the transition is smooth. And I always say that's a good idea. But if you really want to look at your business, like, is it a business on its own and you want to be a business owner, you should be able to walk away from it for a month. You could try it like this. Walk away for a month and see what happens. If it would fall down and die, well, then you have a job, but hopefully you're getting paid well for. But if you really want to test it, you hire somebody to take your job so you can walk away. And if it can take care of that person and get you profit, then then you're going somewhere where you have something to sell at the end. And by the way, selling at the end isn't always the best option. Sometimes people say, "Well, I'm going to get this whole pile of money if I sell it,"
Mhm.
but then they're going to pay a bunch of taxes because they're going to have some big capital gains probably because when they started the business they had maybe $5,000 in startups, right?
Yeah.
So then depending on the equipment and the real estate and all that, the business itself sells for $1 million. Well, most of that's taxable.
Yeah.
Now they could do is just bring in a key person, hire them at a higher, pretty good rate, give them a good incentive, a percentage, and keep the business going,
Right.
and just maybe they don't pay themselves as much as they were paying themselves when they were working in it,
Yeah.
but now they have a real business running and they can retire, just be a business owner. Maybe they sell it to that person down the road. And if you do that over a long period of time, you could probably minimize those taxes.
Yeah. Yeah, I see, just talking, the little talk, I see more and more reasons why people should call Eric Merz to think through some of these decisions. I can see, by the restaurant, you gave the example. I know many restaurant owners, that it's just a job. They're probably, if they close the restaurant and one got a real job, they make more money than they're doing running their restaurant. But I can see there's a lot of strategic decision making that can go into a business that could really make a difference.
Yeah, a lot of businesses are just, they're a good job. It's a good job because that person maybe doesn't want to work or can't work for other people. So
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that, right? That's fine, but you really don't have something to sell as an asset. So in that case, I always kind of counsel people, go sit down with your financial advisor and create a plan where you're going to be putting away money out of that business while you're still in the business over a 30-year period or whatever. So at the end, you still have this pile of gold over here that's outside of the business. So no matter what happens with your business, you'll be okay. And that makes it a lot easier than when you want to try to sell it to, say, a key employee,
Right.
because you don't need all the money right now, and you can just make a deal
Right.
that they pay you over 10 years or 15 years, and the whole thing works out.
Yeah, I'm in the commercial real estate business. We are always counseling people. Talk to your financial person because maybe you don't want all that money from your sale all in 1 year. So,
Yeah, and if you're going to sell your business and you own the property, you might not want to sell the property and just become a landlord. That's a good way to get income that's, it's not taxed by Social Security because it's not earned income. It's passive.
is there a prime candidate out there that should be calling you?
Anyone who's been at their business for 3 to 5 years and they feel like they're kind of stuck, or they want to grow their business. Maybe they've been growing, but they want to grow faster, or they want to work, on putting in better policies and procedures for their employees, or they just want somebody else that's a trusted advisor that comes beside them who doesn't have an agenda apart from their agenda,
Yeah.
and just helps them navigate those things.
Yeah, that would be great. If any business owner out there is saying, yeah, boy, I really need to talk to somebody, how should they reach you? Should they start with the website or call you on the phone?
They can go to the website, and there's actually a profit acceleration simulator on there. They can go through that process and see how they could potentially grow their business. But they can email me at eric@vertuacoaching.com, or they can call me at 661-343-2373. You probably, if I don't know you, you probably should text me first and say, I heard you on this show and would like to make contact with you, and then we can jump on a phone call, because we all get spam calls all the time.
By the way, I think there's a lot of people out there that are not answering their phones. Just, why? We just get so many calls that are for nothing. So that's great. We could text before we call.
I usually do. I usually try to text, and unless it's somebody I know, they have my name in their phone. But first time I meet somebody at a networking event, I put their name and number in my phone if I want to, keep it, and then I text them and I said, "This is, Eric Merz. You met me at blah blah blah, and
Yeah,
I'm just reaching out.
very
Good
good.
to meet you."
We're pushing up against our time limit, Eric, but any last thoughts, anything you want to tell our viewers that they should know?
Just remember that small changes in multiple parts of your business are going to have a huge impact overall on the profitability of your business.
Yeah, yeah. By the way, most of us have grown a business because we knew about something, and we get in and we do the business, and it grows and grows. We never thought it would be a business with multiple employees and go in different directions and needing finances and expansion and new markets and stuff like that. So most of us in business are not experts on business, is what I'm trying to say, Eric. So that's why you're there, I guess.
Well, we're all a work in progress.
All right, Eric. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you coming on the show from time to time and talking to us about this. And I encourage anybody who has the need to reach out to Eric Merz, Vertua Consulting. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Mike.
And for our viewers, stick around. We'll be back with more guests right after this.